Thanks so much for tuning in to the latest episode of Beyond Ballin. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and even hit that notification bell so that you get alerted every time I drop a new episode.
Everybody wanna come to Lala Land. Everybody wanna come to Lala Land.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of Beyond Ballin. I'm your host, Lala Moten, and today's episode is extremely exciting for me. I think this is my first time actually having someone who is in the athletic training field. I have Cedric McFadden, a current sports recovery specialist and performance specialist. Ced, thanks so much for taking the time.
Appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah.
I'm excited. To dive into what we talk about, but I'm excited to be here. I haven't been in front of the camera in a minute. I had you on my podcast.
Exactly.
Like I don't like that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be on the other side of it,
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here.
You'll knock the dust off. You know how to speak in front of the camera. So, I did some research, and when you sent me your bio, it said that you were a biomechanic therapist.
Right.
Talk to me about what that means.
So biomechanic therapist, just a nice name. Biomechanics is pretty much how you move, is movement. So I pretty much, my whole approach with everything as far as the biomechanics side and the performance side is I pretty much look at movement as look at the athlete as far as their whole entire body, right? So I look at movement from head to toe. And that approach allows me to see how a person moves, right? See what they're lacking, what inefficiencies they have in their movement, versus just like looking at it as far as a muscle, how to get the muscle stronger. I look at how you get stronger in your movements.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that is. That's pretty much what that is.
Yeah. So I did my research. You played basketball, right?
Yeah.
At Concordia College.
Yes.
Was that the only place you played in college?
Yeah, that's the only place. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. That's the only
Nice.
place I played. So I played Division II. It was Division II in New York. It's actually not a school anymore.
I saw that because
Yeah.
I was trying to look at the roster. Then I had to go to like USA Basketball, but I saw you.
So Iona College bought it.
Oh.
Yeah, they bought it like during the pandemic. So I had records. I was cool.
No, I
cool.
saw some numbers.
I was cool.
I saw a lot of 20-point games on there.
I was cool.
Yeah. No, that's what's up. How do you think your, time as being a college athlete influenced your decision to move into now helping athletes?
Right. So this happened junior year. So I never really dealt with any injuries like throughout my whole career, like as a kid, high school, college, until my junior year. I had a lot of ankle sprains. Like I tweaked my ankles, but like I kept playing. And when it was one game, something happened, and I thought it was like my Achilles. Like it was like I was like, whoa, hold on. Like, and this was before like all those Achilles injuries. Achilles is like it's like a popular injury now. But this was kind of before that. And I was like, wait, what's going on? So, my athletic training staff, they were like, oh, you just ice, stem, like stretch and heat. And I'm just like, all right, this is not getting better. And like, I'm like, I need to play. So I took it upon myself. I hit some people up, and, one of my homeboys named Ivan, he was working at a gym near the school.
Okay.
In New York. He was like, in New York. Yep,
Okay.
in New York. He was working at Prime Performance and Development. So where I used to work.
Nice.
He was working there, and he was like, yo, come by. I got this guy who can look at you and check you out. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So I went to this guy, and the guy name is Michael Petrina, right? And we're going to get more into who he is, but he looked at my ankle. He did some kind of, I swear it took like 15 minutes. Whatever he did, I got off the table and I was able to move and like jump and do everything. Wow. And I was able to play immediately. Yeah. So like I was supposed to be out for about 2 weeks minimum. I was playing the next day.
Wow.
And when I saw that, I was like, wait, it's no way this is like real. Like, how am I doing this? So, and I just thought to myself, like, I'm a junior at this time. So like, I'm a little bit more mature. I'm thinking about after basketball, I'm thinking about other things. And I'm like, wait, if I'm not the only person that's dealing with injuries and sitting out for weeks and months.
Yeah.
And like, people just keep doing the ice, the stem, the heat, the stem, like that stuff don't really work. Yeah. So like, once I seen that, everything shifted for me. Like my whole approach to just like basketball shifted. Like that summer, I stayed up in New York. I didn't even come home that summer. I stayed in New
Wow.
York and I went to train at that gym. And like they taught me like really how to work out and how to like really take care of your body. And that's pretty much how I got into this space.
So, did you ever figure out what Michael actually did for you?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I did figure out what he did.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go deep into it
Okay.
because that's what I do now. So Michael
Got
is
it.
my mentor.
Awesome.
And he is the person who taught me manual therapy.
Yeah.
He's the person that taught me um, the right way to train an athlete.
Yeah.
Um, and I was in a mentorship with him for the past like 5 years,
Mhm.
just learning it, like learning under him, just watching him treat people, watching him train people. And it's not only athletes; it's
Yeah.
everyone. But I've been watching him do it for the past 5 years. He's been teaching me the ropes, and pretty much like I said earlier, I had sprained ankles, right?
Yeah.
And eventually, if you don't take care of the root cause of certain things,
Mhm.
other
Mhm.
things start to compensate, and then that's when other injuries kick in.
For sure.
So I want to say my Achilles pain or calf pain, whatever I had, started from that ankle injury
Mhm.
that I just never
So it's like a foundational issue.
exactly.
So is the reason why you feel like is this my question to you is this something where anyone can learn or do you have to have certain technology like or is it just like a
Um,
knowledge thing?
so I mean, it's this certain technique that we have
Mhm.
is something that only we do.
Oh,
So
so it's like patented,
yeah,
but
Michael
not really,
created
but
this. He
yeah.
created this certain manual therapy is something it's a wide range. Everyone does manual therapy.
Okay.
Physical therapists do manual therapy.
Mhm.
Massage therapists do some kind of form of manual therapy, but he created a unique technique that gets to the root cause, manipulates tissue, and reverse pain and injury immediately.
Mhm.
And that's what we
Immediately. That's the key.
immediately,
Hmm.
immediately, and
Yeah.
I'm being dead serious immediately. So that's what that is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Do you have you had any like, defining moments when it was like an athlete came to you similar to when you went to Michael
Uh,
and they were having like this chronic pain and then automatically like you changed their
yeah, I
life?
mean, so I have not only athletes, I have like just general population people, like people who come in with plantar fasciitis.
I have that.
You
I
have
have really
plantar
flat
fasciitis.
feet,
If I
really
had my
flat feet.
table here, we'd do it right now. I'm
We
telling you.
I gotta
But
have that too.
like last week I had this guy. He's about like late 40s.
Okay.
He's a former soccer player, athlete, still trains, run marathons, run 5Ks. And he's a soccer coach.
Mhm.
And like you know how it is to be a former athlete. Like once we stop like playing the sport, we
Yeah,
don't want to stop living that lifestyle. So like
definitely.
we keep pushing it, but we also don't do the other things like the
Yeah.
recovery side of it because it's like we don't got time for it. But I pretty much he came in, he had a plantar fasciitis problem, and he went to PTs. He tried changing his insoles in shoes. Like he went through a lot of different like phases of I guess trying to like you know fix the issue, and it just didn't work. So he came to me, and I pretty much treated him,
Yeah.
and
So is
he's
this
been
like a one-time thing or does he have to
depends on your
continuously come
situation.
to
So it
you?
depends on your situation,
Okay.
but a lot of times I won't say it's a one time thing. You do have to continue to do other prep work. So like I'm big on like foam rolling before you play, foam rolling before you work out, right? I'm big on doing band activation before you work out. If you don't do those two things and stretching. So if you don't do those three things before, then that pain and injuries it will reverse. It's going to come
Mhm.
back.
Mhm.
So it's not a one for come to see me is a 1 to 2 times fix, but
Wow.
I do give you homework in order for you to do. Now, that's up to you to do your homework.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna keep coming back to me, and I don't got no problem with that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so it's not necessarily, I won't say it's a one-time fix. It really depends on your situation.
Okay. So circling back a little bit to when you were shifting from being an athlete to now
Mhm.
working in the field, were there any challenges that you faced during your transition?
Um, yeah,
Yeah. What were
yeah.
they?
And honestly, I'm kind of going through those same challenges now.
Okay.
So um I feel like the biggest challenges is getting people to really like trust your work,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm not a physical therapist, right? That's not what I'm labeled. I didn't go to school to do this. I went to school for business.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I just came across this opportunity, and I was like, wait, this is exactly what I want to do because a lot of people we have DMV, we have the best athletes.
We do.
We have the it's no
Stamp
debate.
it
It's
for sure.
stamp it. We're the best athletes. Um, but it's for some reason our athletes, when it gets to the pro level, and you look through those rosters, we don't really have that many athletes in the
Mm,
pros. And if when I did my research and try to figure out like why, it's always like some kind of injury or something is going wrong, or like, they don't last their whole entire career. They make it, but they don't last because of injury.
got it.
So um just to get back to what I'm saying. So like
Mhm.
my challenge is really getting people to really just like to buy in and to trust me.
Yeah.
Because I'm young. I'm young. I'm not a physical therapist. I don't do needling. I don't do
Mhm.
cupping. I
Mhm.
don't really believe in it that much. I'm not saying it don't work, but I
Yeah.
just don't think you need all of that.
Mhm.
And it's just getting so since I moved back here, it's been a little tough because, I'm just trying to get people to understand, that the way you've been doing
It's
things
not always the right
is
way.
not always the right way.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't know what we don't know.
That's the key.
And so that's the challenge, getting people to know, like to learn about what they don't know.
Mhm.
And it's really hard because I mean, people have had success doing what they have been doing, but I don't think there's no longevity in that.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, to your point, there's always room for improvement. So
yep,
just because you've been having success doing one thing doesn't mean that you can't intertwine something else and then
exactly.
be propelled to another level,
Exactly. Exactly.
which is huge.
I totally agree with that because strength training, like I feel like I feel like in the DMV, right? I feel like this industry, the fitness industry, I feel like we are, and this is strictly for like athletes.
Yeah.
I feel like we're so obsessed with the aesthetics of training.
Mm,
So we want to look strong. It's an eye test. I get it. And a lot of sports is an eye test. Like I totally understand. Like if I'm a basketball coach and scout, if I see a dude that's 6'5"
yeah.
running the one, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm going with that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If I see
Yeah.
a football player that's just huge
Mm,
playing DN, I'm like, I'm going with that. But I feel like we are really obsessed with the eye test and with like the aesthetics and like just being strong, and we forget about the movement part of it. We forget about the recovery part of it.
mm,
And honestly, we are more reactive. I feel like this area is more reactive than proactive.
mm.
And that's my approach. I'm proactive.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got to be proactive, especially when you're dealing with athletes. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, they trying to change their life. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, they out there working. I ain't gonna say playing because it's work for them now.
It
They
is.
working
Yeah.
for
It's a professional
contracts,
athlete.
and
Yeah.
like you got to be proactive with that. You can't be reactive
Mm,
because it might be too late. You might not get another chance. Everybody plays sports.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you identify the imbalances in an athlete's body? So like
Um.
let's say somebody comes to you and they don't have necessarily like they're not coming off of like an ACL or an
Right.
Achilles, but they maybe have tight hips or
Right.
something else that's bothering them, but
Right.
nothing that they can pinpoint with like surgery. How do you identify like what the problem is?
Right. So, I always like to look at film. Right.
Okay.
So, like whether that's basketball or football, I mean, I play both, so I know the
Yeah.
game, and I think that's what like also makes me like a little bit different because I know the game, so I know how to like. I mean, we all watch film. We know how to scout. Like you feel me? When you
Exactly.
when you got to go against your
Yeah.
matchup, you like okay, this person like to go to the left, and when she go to the left, she like to step back.
Yeah.
Right? When she go to the right, she don't like to step back.
Mhm.
And I look at it like, okay, she don't like to step back, or he don't like to step back when they go to the right, but like maybe they just can't. You know what I mean? Maybe it's they don't like to.
Mm.
Maybe they can't. So for example, I got a case. So um the past summer I went to see this athlete, work out in the gym, and um he was working out and he's a righty, right? So like as a righty, you think going to the right, you're more dominant than going to the left. Nah,
Mm.
it was the reverse. Like
Mm.
going to the right, he wasn't really explosive.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like step back to the right, he wasn't explosive, but going to the left, he was explosive. And I
Mhm.
was like, in my head, I'm like, hold on, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
how? Like, how that don't really make no sense. And like most people be like, you know, that's just how it is. And I'm like, nah, it's no way. It's something going on. So
Mhm.
like I asked him, I'm like, yo, like, why can't you like go to the, like, why can't you jump off your left? Like, why is it difficult for you to step back off your left? He was like, I don't know. I just really can't. So put him on the table, check his hips, check the range of motion of everything. And then I treat it.
Hmm.
And then he hops off the table and he goes and do those same moves going to the right. And he like, wait, what's going on? And I'm like, it's not that you can't do it. It's just like, in his case, his left side was just so stuck. Like, he wasn't able to fire his glutes on the left. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
he just wasn't able to, like, his left leg just wasn't activated. Like,
Yeah.
nothing. Like,
Yeah.
from the bottom on up, it just wasn't activated.
Mm.
So, like, that's kind of how I also go about, somebody who's not injured. Because you don't have to be injured, to see me.
That's important to
Yeah,
mention.
you don't have to
Yeah.
be injured to see me. It's more so about maintenance. Like, yeah, you don't have to be. It don't have to be the end of the world in order to come to me. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
have to like try to revamp and fix you. No, you can come to me, like I said, it's proactive. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like everybody has some kind of imbalance. So it's good to just like check in, see what's going on, and you know what to work on.
Mhm.
That's pretty much
Why do you feel like it's important to understand an athlete's injury history in order to work
because
forward?
without knowing the injury history, you will not know what they need to train,
Mm.
what they need to do in the off season.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like if
Yeah.
you do not know the injury history, you will not know what potential injuries can come from that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So a lot of injuries come from like a lot of knee pain don't come from your knee hurting. It's come from maybe your foot, maybe your hip,
Yeah.
maybe your shoulder. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like knowing, first of all, you just should know that in general. Just as a professional, you should
Yeah.
know
You should know what
everything
they've
your
been
client
through.
been through. So yeah, that's like the most important thing,
Mhm.
knowing the injury history. That's a part of the whole assessment.
You're right. You talked about it a little bit before, the fact that Achilles injuries are so common now. I
Mm-hmm.
tore my ACL when I was in high school, actually.
Uh,
And I remember during that time, all the doctors were saying, oh, it's common in girls, because our hips are a little
yeah,
different. And, during puberty, like when you're younger,
yeah.
your body's still moving. But now we're seeing a new shift where like Achilles injuries are really common in like basketball players, football players,
Hmm.
um, obviously men more so.
Right.
Why is that, would you say?
Well, for one, that is true.
Yeah.
Women do have like,
Different
yeah,
hips.
they have
Yeah,
different
for
hips and
sure.
like, and that comes from just like, um, I feel like it's being able to like carry when you are
Yeah,
able to
exactly.
carry. But I think the shift has went from. I mean, it's crazy. I don't. Sometimes I really don't be knowing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, dang, like it was
Why?
ACLs was like
The
going on forever. Like you feel me? It was like a
yes.
crazy thing, and then it just shifted to Achilles, and I think I think all of it is related in a way.
Mhm, mhm.
But I also think that a lot of athletes we play a lot. I think we play a
Mm,
lot. I really think it's just not coming from actually being proactive and taking recovery serious.
yeah.
I truly believe that's like why a lot of the injuries happen. I really don't know why
No, I mean,
Achilles is
it's
like a
really
big thing right
crazy
now.
because I can name 2 people off the top of my head that I'm actually close with. One plays basketball and one
Mhm.
plays football, and they're dealing with Achilles injuries, and they hadn't had any surgeries leading up, and they're both professional
Right.
athletes? So it's like these are 2 different sports now, so the training is different. Their
Yep.
body types are different. Why is it so common? Like, I guess,
I mean, the
that's
game has changed. It's
it
faster.
has, yeah,
Um,
for every sport.
yeah, it's every position is different. It's
Mhm,
faster. Like, you know what I
mhm.
mean? Linemen out here running four,
Yeah.
fives. Like it's
Yes.
I really don't I really can't put my finger on
Yeah,
why Achilles is just the
yeah,
issue now.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, the thing is, non-contact injuries, like, is a difference. So yeah, I should have said this earlier, but it's a difference like between just being injuries are different, right? You have your contact injuries, which you can't control, right? If somebody fall into your leg, you
Yeah.
can't control that. If you get pushed out the air, you can't control that. And even in non-contact injuries, you can't necessarily control it, but you can lower the risk. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So like a non-contact injury is me running and stopping and then something happens.
Mhm.
Or me cutting, making a move and something happens, right? I think that is training. I think that is a result of your training.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just that simple. I really truly believe that non-contact injuries is a result of your training because in that training you can lower the risk in those movements, the cutting, the landing, the jumping. Um, so yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of Achilles stuff.
Because
That's
of the
because
training.
of training
So
and
that
not
leads into my
recovering.
my next question is like, what would you say is the biggest mistake that a lot of trainers make when it comes to injury prevention? What are they missing in your eyes?
I truly believe they don't know.
Mm,
I just think they don't know.
yeah.
Like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know, and I really think a lot of people don't know. Um, and I feel like strength training, strength and conditioning coaches, and recovery specialists need to collab. I think that
Mm,
I think a lot of us are. I think everybody, a lot of people are selfish in this industry. I think they're really selfish. I think everybody want to be like, this is my person, and I say it's selfish because it's not about us. It's about the athlete.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's another challenge. That's another challenge, like earlier that I have.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard because the way I go into things is not about me. It's not about the other coach. It's not about their parents. It's about the athlete,
Yeah.
right? Because they are the product.
Mhm.
And if you have a specialty and I have a specialty, we can combine them, right? I'm not
Yeah.
trying to tell you how to train them, although I can train, you know what I mean? I can train.
Yeah.
Now, am I like big on lifting, getting bigger, bigger? No.
Yeah.
If you want that, you can go to someone. I have people you can go to for that.
Yeah.
But it's different phases in training, right?
Mhm.
So for instance, like example of a phase, right? So now that the off season is about to happen, right? They take a break. You know what I mean? You know, you give your body a rest. You gotta take a break. You've been going hard for like 20 weeks. Right? You gotta take a break. Um, but after that break over, then you come back and we start with the foundation, right? You start building the foundation. You start, teaching your body how to move again. Once that phase is over, you move to the next phase. Now it's the strength phase. Now you lifting. You know what I mean? Now you lifting because you already built that foundation. And then now in the third phase is before you go right back, right? Now we going into the power stuff. We going into all that kind of stuff, the conditioning, just getting your body to last throughout the season
Yeah.
because a lot of if you really pay attention to it, a lot of the injuries come around week 8 and week 9. This is for football. A
Mm.
lot of injuries come around week 8 and week 9. After this show, go look at all the injuries and see when they start to get injured. After week 8, a lot of people start dropping like flies.
Their
And I
bodies
feel
start
like their
breaking
body
down.
are breaking down because they can't hold up. And that comes from training sometimes,
Yeah.
right? They can't hold up. So,
Specifically with non-contact injuries, more
yes.
so,
Yes,
right? When
specifically with
nobody's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
bumping into them. So if
Exactly.
you could make your perfect team for an athlete, right? It'd be what, like a strength coach, recovery
It'll
specialist.
be a,
Who would they be?
it'll be a strength coach. It'll be a recovery specialist. And that can be anyone,
Mhm.
anybody can be a recovery specialist. Um, it will be some kind of mental health coach, whatever one, you know what I mean? It could be a life coach, it can be a therapist, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a must. So I got strength coach, recovery specialist, mental health coach, a nutritionist, that
Yeah.
eating is always a big thing. And and people who actually hold you accountable. And
Mm.
that can be friends or it can be
Yeah.
people you don't, that aren't friends. But I think I'm probably missing some, but off the top of my
No,
head, those are
that's
like,
great. I think that those are great pillars.
yeah.
People watching can now think of like where they're lacking in one area of their life
Hmm.
and how it can, help their overall picture.
Yeah.
That's great. What piece of advice would you give to? I'm going to talk about basketball now,
Hmm.
the sport that I played, sport that you play. You also play more. You play
Now
football
I
too,
play
but
basketball was my main
basketball
sport
is your thing.
though.
Okay, I'm focused on basketball. Which is about like quick movements and having like explosive moves, right? What's one piece of advice that you wish more basketball players knew about maintaining their health on and off the court?
um, One piece of advice I give them would be definitely don't just go on the court and play.
That's key.
Do not just go on the court and play, right? Do your warm up, whatever your warm up don't have to be what I want it to be. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, because if I don't know you, then if you're watching this, I don't know you, then you're not gonna know. I can't tell you what to do, but have your routine before you go on the court, right? My advice is the foam roll, stretch, and do some band work. I know you don't always have time to do that. So at least like foam roll and stretch, right? And my next advice is when you are working out, just focus on glute strength.
Mm.
Focus on exercises that strengthen your glutes. That is the only thing I'm gonna say. That's
Ooh,
it.
that's great.
Focus on glute strength, focus on core strength. Those two things right there.
Glute stretch. Okay, here's the thing that I heard when I was playing. You're supposed to be in a sweat, while you're warming up. Do you agree with that? Because, to a lot of us, me back when
Wait,
I
what
was
you
playing,
saying?
they
Like,
were saying like, when you're stretching, you're supposed to be like in a sweat, basically,
I
before
mean,
the
yeah,
game
when your
starts.
body
Do you
warm.
agree?
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah.
Okay.
When your body warm, you should, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that. I
So
agree
it's
with
not
that.
just like we're not just saying stretch and get loose. Like your body should be
Yeah,
primed,
your body,
right? Which
yeah.
which can result in like what does that look like for people? Because I could stretch, I could touch my toes.
See, that's
That's
not
not
stretching,
as
son. That's not stretching,
So
son.
yeah, so talk to me about what
Your
that's not that
she
hard.
do the
And
the
then
little
put my
wash
leg
machine.
up,
She do the wash machine, touch the toes,
scoops.
scoops. But no, like so
Yeah.
like a dynamic stretch. Like
Okay.
so moving while you stretch. That's good.
Yeah.
Getting like some run, like
Okay.
literally warm your body up.
Yes.
Right? Because
Yeah.
if you cold, I know the AAU games, it'd be like 8 a.m. games, pool
Yeah.
play, gym cold,
Exactly.
you ashy. You know what I mean?
Ooh. This is dumb.
You feel me, bro? You gotta warm up, bro. You gotta
Yes.
warm up, bro,
Okay,
for
you
real.
gotta get
so
it.
like actually like warming your body up and just like doing some, moving, but actually taking it serious because
Yes.
like I see I see kids when they do it, they do butt kicks. They just like, not really kicking their butt.
They're
They
trying
do
to
high
save their
knees.
energy for the game.
Right. But it's like that's not
But-
really saving your energy.
No, it's
You're gonna start. I guarantee you, if you really warm up hard, like in warm-ups, this for basketball, try to go for 30. You know what I
Ooh,
mean?
yeah,
In the warm-up
yeah.
line, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, if you playing,
Yeah.
probably 15, try to go for 15 if you're
No,
gonna get in the
but-
game. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Take
really,
it
really
serious.
take it serious and warm up. And I think that will really relate to in the game because I mean your coaches already say it now. If you don't warm up hard, it's gonna show in the game. You're gonna
And
start
it's true
slow.
because
So
then
like,
you got to start. Then you start slow.
you start slow.
Because then you start. Your body has to warm up and get to that
Yeah.
level versus you already being there.
Yeah, I take every moment
No,
seriously
that's
though.
huge. That's a
real.
great piece of advice. Okay, so you kind of talked about the mental health aspect,
Mhm.
and I think with the work that you do, the body's imbalances sometimes reflect imbalances like in your mind,
Mhm.
right? Has there ever been a time when you felt kind of off balance mentally or emotionally, and maybe it reflected on the court of the field? And how'd you get over that if you felt that?
Yeah, so I did feel that in college. Was this? I'm trying to think. Was this year? Was it that year? No, actually, this was my freshman year in college. I partially tore my ACL, so I didn't need surgery. And I also didn't know about all the stuff I know now, but pretty much like I didn't need surgery, so I just did like a bunch of like exercises that the PT people gave me, but like that really messed with me mentally because I was like, I don't know if I can still do what I can do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was pretty much like a really fast, quick guard.
Yeah.
And I was really afraid to do certain things like that. I was afraid to jump, afraid to run fast. And it just really messed with my mind, especially being a freshman away from home too.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm like, man, how I get injured? I ain't never been injured. Now this is my first time I'm injured in college. So I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I actually, also, I don't know how this even happened, but I think I was walking through campus one day and I saw like the number of a therapist. Like our school had a therapist or sports teams had a therapist. And I just like hit him up. And then I went to talk to him. And we were just chatting, talking. I don't even remember the conversation, but leaving there, I felt
Better,
so much better.
lighter.
Yeah, so much better. I felt amazing. So that's my little thing. It's not that big, but
No, but
that was
big.
my like moment in college that like I was really messed up mentally and I seeked out for help.
Yeah.
Just to talk to somebody.
Yeah. No, and that's super important. I think now in 2025, it's not as taboo
Mhm.
to reach out for help. But back then, 2017, 2016, 2018,
Yeah.
it wasn't as common, right? It was seen as like a sign of weakness within our
Right.
community in
Sign
a
of
lot of
weakness.
ways.
But I was also, I mean, I'd never told anybody about that either. Like,
Wow.
you know what I mean?
Thanks
Like,
for
because
sharing.
although I did, well, I mean, I'm talking about back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never did back then.
It's not a hot
I
take.
mean, a lot of
Okay.
people don't know that, but like,
Okay.
I also didn't really tell my team, like, oh, I went to the therapist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and my school did do a good job of like having them come and talk to us here and there
Mhm.
about things. So, yeah.
That's good. Okay, so if you had to give one piece of advice to 2018, 2019, little said
To
at
2018,
Concordia,
2018, 2019.
yep,
Okay.
from you now, right?
Okay.
What advice would it be?
Hmm. Advice to 2018, 2019, Lil said. Hmm. Stop.
Yeah.
Dang.
Is it taking you back? Yeah, like what would you have needed to hear back then? Or what, now that hindsight is 2020, right?
Hmm.
So what could you maybe have used? What tools could you have used that you had to learn the hard way
Right.
that he can just, because somebody out there isn't you, but somebody is going through what you went through,
Right.
and maybe has never heard of the profession that you have now.
My advice would be to first of all, use this phone, right? And do your
Okay.
research on things. Like,
Yeah.
it's a reason why it's a reason why LeBron James is playing for how many years he been playing for?
He's 40, basically.
Like, it's a
now,
reason
yeah.
why he been playing for over 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a reason why a lot of people are successful. It's a reason why, and it's not only with sports, it's a reason why a lot of people are successful. At least a reason why, we have access to all of this phone. I would honestly say, like, do your research on whatever you want to do
Mm.
and literally seek out, reach out, get a mentor. There we go. I
Get a
found it.
mentor.
Boom. That's what it
great.
is. That's my advice right there. Find a mentor. And find a mentor. It could be in something that you want to do or just a mentor in general. And I would say find somebody who's not your family member or not your friend. Like, really find somebody that you really, you don't know, and really hit them up and tell them why you want them to be your mentor. And I feel like that'll just help. That helped me a lot. Like, my mentor was the guy who's my mentor now, Mike
Yeah.
Retrina. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, my mentor was Ivan,
Yeah.
Chachua. Like, those two guys are technically my mentors. Like,
Yeah.
both of them are my close friends.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And Ivan was my teammate,
Mhm.
but they are my mentors. They are the reason why I kind of got into this field in this industry. So, like, I would say just seek out and find a mentor, because it's really helpful. And then after you find a mentor, find a mentee. You feel me?
Somebody
Find
else you
somebody
know.
who you can also teach it to or talk to, because that'll also help you understand, like, dang, like, okay, that'll help you process your thoughts a little better too, because you
sure.
also gotta, relate that
Reverberate it.
information,
Yeah.
to someone else. So
Do you have a mentee right now?
I won't necessarily say I have like a mentee, but
you
I
might
do
have
have
a few after this podcast.
yeah, I won't necessarily have a mentee, but I do have people that I talk to,
Yeah.
about certain things a lot. But I won't necessarily say I have a mentee. No, I don't.
Okay, but are you open to it?
Yeah, I'm open to it.
Yeah. So where can they find you as we wrap this
On
interview
Instagram, you can find me on Instagram.
Yeah.
My name is Ced.McFadden on Instagram. Yeah, that's pretty much
Is that
it.
how they also book your services?
Yeah, that's how you
as
book
well?
my service. My link
Okay.
is in my bio. Link in bio.
Mhm.
Link in bio. You can also just message me, DM me. My email is on there. You can email me. And on my website, I also do have my work number on there, so you can also shoot me a text as well. Just introduce yourself. Don't just call me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but like, you can introduce yourself, and we'll chat from there. We'll take it from there. And that goes for people who are just looking for looking for a trainer. You looking to book a service, or you just looking to chat about anything.
Awesome. Well, I'm super proud of everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's it's an uncharted territory right now, but with the Wild Wild West, right? It's like somebody found it, and then it's gonna grow.
Yeah, it's gonna
So
grow.
I'm glad that we got to talk to you while it's still on the upward trajectory before everyone's knocking down your door
I know.
to have you.
Please knock it down. Kick it
Yeah,
down.
they are.
please.
They are, right? That's the first
Nah,
step.
it takes time though, man. It takes
Yeah.
time. It takes time. I just moved back here. Do you know that?
I
moved.
didn't.
Yeah, I just moved back here from New York.
So how
So
long were you
I was in New York for the
since?
past, including college.
So when you were doing the podcast, you were just
Oh, I was
back
traveling.
and forth.
Yeah, I was traveling back and forth.
Okay.
So I've been in New York since 2014,
Wow.
and I moved back here 2024. So
Nice. So this
10
is the
years.
year.
Yeah, this is the year. This is the year.
And you like being back home.
I do.
Yeah.
It's different, but
It's cozy.
it's home.
Right? Yes.
It's home.
Exactly.
It's home, and it's good to be around, your folks and everything. So yeah, I do.
Yeah. And
I
then when
enjoy
we
it.
talk about sports and athletics, like you talked about early on,
Yeah,
this
this
is the Mecca.
It's the
This is-
Mecca.
this is where
It's the
it's
best.
at.
We have the best everything. So
Well,
yeah.
thanks so much for taking the time.
Appreciate
Seth.
it. Appreciate it.
And see you guys in the next episode.
See you next.
Bye.